Okay, so then we pick out the goal and we measure. You talked about having a measurement. And so timeline is a very important part of the goal.
Yeah.
So I say I want to be more outgoing. And then I set a way to do that. Well, I guess I set a timeline first. Like in a month, I guess I want to talk to 3 new people that I've never talked before. So I have a timeline of a month,
Okay.
and then I have a specific step of 3 people to talk to, right?
Okay.
And then Sunday comes, and I'm standing at the door, and I'm thinking, I don't want to talk to anybody. I know I need to. I've already assessed the fact that I'm not good at it, but I feel like God wants me to be better at it.
Right.
I'm sitting there and I'm scared. Now what? Because whenever you do have a deficiency in your life, it's hard.
Right.
Like that's just the definition of I got this deficiency and I got to go and all that stuff. So what kind of goes through your head, I guess, whenever you're trying to defeat?
So I'm bad with names.
Okay.
Made no secret about that. If we're here in church and I'm talking to you and I've talked to you more than just greeting and you've walked by and I haven't called you by name, you'll notice Melanie will step over and say, hey, Lucas, are we going to do that on Friday and confirm something with you and call you by name because she knows my deficiency. And she and I have talked about it, and she knows that as she hears me use phrases that I commonly use to compensate for my deficiency, rather than look at you and go, Lucas, and rather than me look at you and say, man, I'm blanking on your name right now. When she hears me cheating, she steps over and helps me adjust for it. We need to have, if you're in church and you said, I want to meet with, you need to look around and say, well, Scott's over there talking to somebody I don't know. I'm going to walk over and talk to Scott and enter into that conversation. If I look around and I know this is a deficiency of mine and I can't bring myself to overcome it by myself, then biblically speaking, we find other brothers and sisters who are in the journey we're in and we get their help. And so I go over, I'm comfortable talking to Scott, so I talk to Scott and have him and say, oh, I don't think we've met, and let him introduce us and begin that process. And then I can even, if that doesn't work, I can sit down with Scott after church and just stop with him real quick and say, I was really hoping you'd introduce me to them because I'm trying to meet people, visitors, when they're here. That way he's aware of it, and the next time I walk over and say, hey Scott, he goes, oh, hey, have you met? And introduces me. And so when I'm struggling by myself, our human nature is to buckle down, but scripturally, what we're supposed to do is rely more on the family around us. And so if I'm struggling with my weight, if I'm struggling with my attitude, if I'm struggling with whatever, if I know I'm still struggling with it after I've started that journey and it's not going anywhere, my first step is to draw a circle around myself of 3 or 4 people that I say, hey guys, all right, this is true, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm trying to get. Hold me up to it. Hold me accountable.
That is a very good piece of advice. Find someone at least that to confide in, to help you, a mentor for it. And everyone, if you look at the whole church, everyone's probably good at something. So you just find somebody good at that particular thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've been there. Confide in them and then say, help me with this, and tell them your goal. Tell them, say, hey, I want to try to really reach out to 3 people within this month.
Right. My goal is to meet 3 new visitors or 3 new people in the church and start drawing connection to them.
And I would be more than happy, like it would give me joy to help somebody with a goal. I think other Christians are the same way. They see that you're trying to get involved or be better or something. I think people are very much inclined to want to help you get to that goal.
And what we notice we do, what I notice I do, is I have a natural tendency to simply connect with other people that have similar struggles and strong suits as I do, rather than intentionally look around and say, that person has these tendencies that I need. And so therefore, I'm going to build a relationship with them with the intention that that strength is now going to be a part of my circle, that I can lean on that. For whatever reason, what we like to do is surround ourselves with people who make us comfortable. When When Solomon died, his son stepped in there, and he had this one group of advisors who stepped forward and said, this is what you should do. This is the wise thing to do. It wasn't most necessarily the popular thing to do, but it was the wise thing to do. And he had all these kids that he grew up with that were friends of his that said, oh, no, you want to do it this way. When, Solomon stepping in, and there's transitions in the kingdom of Israel from David to Solomon, and every one of those transitions there early from Saul to David, David to Solomon. There was some bumpy roads in there in that time frame. And he chose to listen to the young guys he was friends with because they saw that they were his yes men. They were people who just liked the same things he liked and wanted the same things he wanted. And rather than put himself in an uncomfortable position surrounded by people who saw things differently than him and advised him in a broader picture, he stayed very narrow and he's focused. And as we're in church, as we're in work, as we're in life, having people that see things we don't see is important. And so we need to intentionally build those relationships with people, maybe not extremes. You shouldn't, if you're a recluse, you shouldn't build a relationship with that extreme extrovert because you're probably never going to be comfortable doing it their way. But you need to look around and go, there's a person that seems reasonably comfortable in this environment, and a lot of times what we'll find is if we're prayerfully living life and doing that, God will draw us to people that they had the same struggle we had, and they've intentionally got where they're going. So when we say, I want to start meeting one new person every week when I come to church. I just want to shake hands and meet one new person if they're here to meet. And normally what we'll do, if we've been praying and we've been seeking God's guidance, when we do that to somebody goes, yeah, it can be really hard. I remember when I used to just come to church and I just wouldn't talk to anybody. And so God will do that to us. He'll bring us into a group of people that know what we're going through and can support us. But we have to be willing to step out and say, I need a brother who's strong in this area to help me out.